Introduce the journey of fresh cassava from the farm into a large American processing plant where it will eventually be transformed into creamy white cassava flour. Fresh cassava roots arrive from agricultural fields and enter the plant as the first raw material for cassava flour production.
Look at this one, it's bruised.
Yeah, pull it out before it hits the line.
After inspection, the selected cassava roots move into the cleaning section, where dirt and field debris will be removed before further processing into cassava flour.
The first major processing step is intensive washing, which removes soil and field debris from the cassava roots. Mechanical cleaning continues removing remaining impurities, so the cassava is prepared for the next stages of processing into cassava flour. A final rinse removes remaining surface impurities and prepares the cleaned cassava for controlled cutting and preparation before it becomes cassava flour. With the roots thoroughly cleaned, the cassava now moves deeper into the processing line for preparation and size reduction on its journey toward cassava flour. The cleaned cassava is mechanically cut into smaller pieces, making the material easier to process efficiently during the next stages of cassava flour production.
The prepared cassava now continues deeper into the processing line, where additional separation, drying, grinding.
The prepared cassava pieces now enter the next processing section, where they are further prepared for efficient transformation into cassava flour.
Controlled size reduction creates more uniform cassava pieces, preparing the material for the following moisture removal and processing stages.
The uniformly prepared cassava moves through interconnected conveyors toward the next stage, keeping the large-scale cassava flour production line operating continuously. The cassava pieces are evenly prepared so moisture can be removed efficiently, an important step on the way toward producing stable cassava flour. The prepared cassava now enters the drying section, where controlled heat and airflow reduce moisture and prepare the material for efficient milling. Controlled drying steadily removes moisture from the cassava, creating the proper condition for the material to move toward grinding and flour production. After controlled drying, the cassava leaves the dryer with reduced moisture and continues toward the milling section, where it will be transformed into flour. The dried cassava now reaches the milling stage, where powerful grinding equipment reduces the material into fine particles that will become cassava flour. Grinding transforms the dried cassava into fine, creamy white cassava flour, marking a major transformation in the production process. The freshly milled creamy white cassava flour now moves toward refinement, screening, and quality control stages that will ensure a consistent finished product. After milling, the creamy white cassava flour passes through precision screening to create a more uniform particle size. Larger particles are returned for additional grinding, so more of the cassava can be converted into fine, creamy white cassava flour. A secondary milling step refines remaining particles and helps produce a more consistent stream of creamy white cassava flour. The refined material rejoins the screening process, helping maintain the consistent particle size required for high-quality cassava flour. Final screening ensures the creamy white #cassava flour reaches a consistent particle size before entering quality control and finishing stages.
Quality control technicians inspect the creamy white cassava flour to verify its consistency and production quality before packaging.
Automated monitoring helps maintain consistent production conditions while the creamy white cassava flour continues toward the finishing and packaging stages. With milling, screening, refinement, and quality checks completed, the creamy white cassava flour now moves toward controlled storage and the final packaging stages. The finished creamy white cassava flour is transferred into controlled food-grade storage, where it remains protected before packaging. Large quantities of creamy white cassava flour are safely stored in food-grade silos until the packaging line is ready to receive the product. Controlled storage keeps the creamy white cassava flour protected and ready for accurate transfer to the final packaging system. The filled packages containing creamy white cassava flour move continuously toward sealing, where each package will be securely closed.
The packages are securely sealed to protect the creamy white pot cassava flour during handling, storage, and transportation.
After inspection, approved creamy white cassava flour packages enter final packing, preparing the finished product for warehouse handling and distribution. Sealed packages of creamy white cassava flour are grouped into shipping cases, making the finished product easier to handle, store, and transport. The shipping cases are securely closed, so the packaged creamy white cassava flour remains protected during warehouse handling and transportation. The sealed cases now move toward palletizing, where the finished creamy white cassava flour will be organized into stable loads for storage and transport. Robotic palletizing efficiently stacks shipping cases of creamy white cassava flour into stable pallet loads ready for warehouse storage. The completed pallets contain securely packed creamy white cassava flour and are now ready for movement into the finished product warehouse. The finished creamy white #cassava flour remains securely stored on pallets while orders are prepared for distribution.
That's the last pallet of the cassava flour for the morning truck.
Okay, heading to the dock now. Okay, bring it straight back into Bay 3. Easy now. Looks good from here, manifest confirmed.
After completing the loading process, the truck carrying creamy white cassava flour leaves the processing plant and begins its journey toward distribution.